Does that not look exactly like the observable universe? That turns into that. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the world's worst fishing. I'm your host, Chris Jones. Thanks for tuning in to another bait making episode. I want to show y'all something pretty cool that I poured up last night, actually. Yeah, let's check it out before we do our official intro for the video. Alright, so we have some G5s in what looks to be a pretty interesting pattern. Check this out. It's the snake pattern. Could also double as sort of like a crawfish pattern. Look at that. Pretty neat. We'll get out another one. Yeah. Not something you'll see very often. Like, yeah, those are quite a task. And then I did it sort of in a blue craw version as well in the G4. Alright, so now we're here on the less glamorous side of the shop. You can see I've got molds and injectors on my shelves back there. But check this out. Custom wooden drying rack or curing rack that fits your standard size cookie sheets. So check this out. Yeah. Somebody had a great idea. I saw this on Facebook and absolutely had to try this. So yeah, my neighbor happens to be a very good carpenter. I'm the bait maker, he's the carpenter. And yeah, we built this bad boy. And what's really great about the way that we did the trays here, you can see they kind of fit the outer lip, I guess, of it. But the whole inside is also wide enough to fit a larger size tray. So as you can see there, I've got two different sized cookie sheets that both will fit this rack. Alright, everybody, so today we are finally doing it, okay? I have been, this color has been requested for years, probably since before even my son Landon was born, and he's now 5. So I'm a little overdue, just a little bit. Today we're going to show how to make hematoma, okay? A black and blue swirl color made famous by the Sweet Beaver. They're probably not the first bait company to ever do it, but they definitely put it on the map. And this is something that you can take to any injection mold. So don't think of it necessarily as it has to be a creature bait or it has to be a beaver style bait or a craw. As we'll demonstrate today, you can pretty much do it in whatever you want. There's two ways to go about doing this. You can use the Angling AI C block, which will sort of mix the colors together, or you can do the traditional milk the cow with your dual injector. So we're going to kind of see which one we like better today. But yeah, basically it's just a black and blue swirl. And that may sound really easy, but it's actually not. Because black is always the dominant color, what'll happen is you can run into problems to where you lose the blue, right? It gets swirled into the black and then the blue becomes so dark that you really don't see that distinction. So that, to me, is the hard part. So without further ado, here comes Popular Colors Hematoma. Alright, time to plastisol up. We're going to be using some of the new Dead on Plastics Red Label. Brand new plastisol to the market. Check out our latest video where we do a full review of this and do a compare and contrast with the normal Dead on Plastisol blends. But this is what we're going to use today. I think it'll be, oops, ooh, golly, we're splashing everywhere. I think it'll be a really good plastic to use for these hematoma baits we're about to make. So we'll just kind of measure out 2 cups worth into each cup here. Alright, so we're going to use the Angling AI mold stinger bait. Stinger mold, the grass grenade as I affectionately call it. We're going to use this mold to dial in the color because this is the closest thing to like a beaver mold that we have. And really that's what it is. It's just a beaver with a few more appendages and a little bit more detail. So we're going to use this to dial in the color because our picture example is exactly that. So let me get that up here. Yeah, there it is. There's what we're going for. And here's going to be our mold of choice. Okay, there it is. Whew, that's a lot of plastic. So, no surprise, you're going to need black and blue. And we're just going to start, okay? We are building this from the ground up. I do not have a recipe already built. We're just going to go with it. And what I want to pay close attention to is not oversaturating. I do not want the colors so opaque that the black is just going to take over. And really, my danger zone here is getting the black too opaque. The blue is really, there's no scenario where the blue is probably going to take over. But we want to get our saturations as even as possible. You know, that way neither color dominates. But we especially want to pay close attention to the black. Okay? So what we want to do is do our drizzle test. Okay, so as we can see from that, the black is actually a little bit too light. But you can always add more color. You cannot take it out once it's in. Okay? Sort of like when you go to the lake on a cold day. Dress warmer than you think you need, because you can always take layers off, but you can't invent a jacket when you're out there freezing if you didn't bring it. So basically what we want to do is try to match the saturation of the black to the blue without overpowering the blue. Alright, that is our goal here. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. If it's ready to peel up, it's still a little hot. Whew, very hot. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to stir that a little bit more. Stir this a little bit more. And it really doesn't matter what black and blue color you use. I think it's just kind of one of those, get your favorite shade of blue, get your favorite shade of black, and send it. Pretty much all blacks are the same. You know, the blues can really vary. So I would just go with a straight blue. Whatever manufacturer you're doing, don't go with some strange blue. Just go with straight blue down the middle if you want to get hematoma. Now, of course, you know, hey, you're a custom bait maker. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of it, is that we are not limited to just making store-bought colors. But it's good to know how to do them, and it's super fun if you have confidence in a color. You know, hey, you definitely want to be able to build that color for yourself and, you know, develop your own recipes and all that. So I think we're about there. And, you know, then it just comes down to shooting a bait and seeing how well the colors blend, see if your saturations work, you know, see if your colors are not overpowering one another. And, yeah. That's pretty much it for the color build. As of right now, I have this where I want it, and I have this where I want it. How it's going to look in the mold will be the test. Do we need to saturate both sides a little bit more? Or what do we need to do? There might be a little bit of troubleshooting, but let's go ahead and try it. Okay, so for this first shot, we're going to be using the Angling AI C block, and we'll kind of show you what that is once we use it. That way we can open it up. But essentially, it lays the plastic in there in sort of a random camo pattern. Not a true spiral swirl, but neither is hematoma. So let's go ahead and try it. And the great thing about the C block is you'd shoot it just like a normal blending block. Just like this was a regular laminate. Okay. Okay, let's take a look here and see how these did. Yep, so as you can see, the swirl is completely lost, right? It just looks like dark blue. Yeah, we may have to break out a bit of a secret weapon here, but yeah, as you can see, just not enough saturation, and really, I think both colors need to be more saturated. I'm not even seeing enough black pattern in there. You know, to me, this looks less like hematoma swirl and more like a really bad black and blue laminate. Okay, all right. So we're going to add more black, and we're going to do substantially more because I'm just, there were no contrast of colors in there whatsoever, good or bad. And we've got to have enough contrast that you can actually see the different patterns in there. All right, so we're going to really substantially up the saturation of the black, but so that our blue doesn't get lost and killed, we're actually going to alter the base. We're going to add a blue powder to it that will opaque it, and the powder becomes visible, so we'll be able to see some of those swirl patterns, at least better than we were. That will help the overall saturation of the blue side. Okay. Alright, so maybe a little bit more, and the more I look at that picture example, the more I'm like, they're really getting an opaque blue in there somehow. And the way for me to try to achieve that is by pearlizing the base. Alright. That also brightens the blue. I'm using a very dark blue base, Lureworks Phthalo blue. So that actually brightens it. So now let's do a drizzle test. Yeah, that's much better. Yep, check this out. That has enough contrast that we see the distinction between color, but the blue holds its own. It doesn't get completely lost. So I think we will try a test shot with that. Okay, I have exactly the purple that I need. I need 0.008, which is the teeny tiny stuff, right, in a purple. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And because that black is so thick, we probably need a lot of this for it to even show up. So I'm glad I looked closer and saw these little purple flakes in there. Yeah. It makes it look very cosmic, you know, otherworldly. Yep, there it is. Now you can just barely see those purple flakes in there. So I think we're about there color-wise. I added a little bit more blue pearl to the blue, just to make that a little bit lighter and a little bit stronger. And then, yeah, and then we've got the purple flake over there in the black side. Boy, I mean, that should just be about there, folks. Wow. All right, we are zoomed way out, and we have taken the, I guess, the support bar that frees up each side of the dual injector, and let's milk the cow. Basically, we're going to pulse it. Right, left, right, left. Just like we're playing drums. Right, left, right, left. Alright. Oh, you know what? We got to do a drum roll. Okay, I think this will definitely be our closest yet, so let's go ahead and do a drum roll. Okay. Yes, that is much more like it. Look at this. There it is. You can see the swirls. Yeah, look at that. Look how nicely that kind of swirled the body. You can see a nice distinction between the black and blue. Yeah. Even there in the tails, right? Especially if we get a background behind it. You know, once we lay these out on a white background, you'll really see some color. Look at that. And it's got the little purple flakes. Look at that. Now, I do not have this color in person. I have never seen this color in person. Nowhere around here carries Reaction Innovation. Do you think we hit it? That looks a lot like that picture, especially if I laid it on a white background and brightened the image a little bit. I think we would have a carbon copy. Okay. Yeah, and here's the other mold. Yeah. Really, really fun. Yeah. Love it. Okay, so there it is. I think that's about as good as we can get without an example in hand. We have a really, really nice contrast to colors, and I think they are the correct colors, and we have the correct type of swirl. Okay, so just like the image, we're going to lay them out, white background, we're going to split the tails. Alright, have one going one way, the other going the other way. That is exactly like the product image that we are basing our color after, and I'd say that is it. Now watch this. That turns into that. There's ours on the bottom. There's the reaction on the top. Oops. Yep, the reaction on the top. So you can see these particular two examples on the top have a little bit more black in them. The ones I have in the bottom, just a little bit more blue got swirled in. You know, but I could easily substitute that with one that did get more black in it, right? But that's just to kind of show you how an image is, you know, brightened for pictures, right? So, yeah. Really good there. I'm, yeah, I'm tickled. I think we got it. Okay, as promised, here's a few different molds. Here we go. Yeah, there it is in the 4-inch tracer shad. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, you can see it tried to swirl. This isn't an ideal kind of swirling type of bait, but I definitely wanted to see it. So yeah, looking pretty good there. That one's cool. It's almost like half and half, right? Yeah. Pretty neat. And here it is in the baby AR worm. It's a little hard to see the swirls in that. They're not coming out. They're not coming through as clear. So for example, this would be a good example to show where you would actually want to alter your colors depending on which mold you're going to swirl. As you can see, this one is more of a body bait, right? It doesn't have as many of the you know, little extremities and stuff. I would want to actually strengthen the blue. And just to illustrate the point I made earlier, how if I was going to do this in the worm, I would need to strengthen the blue, and here it is. All right, there it is with more blue, or a stronger blue. And you can clearly see very cool defined swirls. And it just, well, yeah, that bottom one didn't really get a lot, did it? But overall, that really has the hematoma characteristic much more than our earlier example. So you can see, you know, those now look alike, although the recipe is slightly different. And last but not least was a tube. Check it out. Yeah. Hematoma tube. There it is. Alright, there it is. So I definitely liked this color absolutely the most in the Stinger, in the style of bait that it's offered in, but I also really found it to be great in a tube. I'm not the best at tubes, so I definitely need to up my tail cutting game. But in terms of just which molds wore the color the best, I would definitely go with these two. And again, the tube is sort of like the worm that we just did, the mini AR worm. I would actually want to strengthen the blue a little bit. As you can see, it doesn't quite maybe come out as well in the body. And there again, it might just be, you know, the configuration of the tube and the way the plastic has to go in around, you know, the tube mold. It may just interrupt that swirl. So, you know, it might just be that you don't get quite as good of a swirl effect in a tube, but I really liked it. So yeah, this is definitely the one that I liked best. Which one did you guys like best? Please leave me a comment down below. Yeah, I told y'all he was a carpenter. He's over here building a swing set.
That's where
he can build cool stuff for his kids. All I can do is pour baits. Okay, yeah, so you'll mount that like that.
Down right there, so
okay.
Hit that.
So two swings? Is this two swings? One swing. One big swing.
There, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, he does cool stuff. We do baits. Okay, so what did we learn today? Well, we learned how to make hematoma first and foremost, but you know, secondly, it sort of taught me somewhat of a color lesson. In that I had to strengthen the blue so much more than the black, which is not, you know, I guess all that surprising. Like we said right at the beginning of the video, the hard part's going to be getting the, you know, making sure that the black does not overpower the blue. However, what it took was brightening and opaquing the blue with that pearlized effect. Yeah, we just got some cloud cover. I'm sure y'all saw the color change. Wreaks havoc when I'm trying to film baits right. But what that allowed us to do is really allow that blue to not get lost in the black, right? It's to me, it would have been much easier to swirl green pumpkin and blue, or you know, something like that, to where one color just isn't naturally so much stronger than the other. And so whenever you're doing like a black and blue laminate, it's kind of the same thing. You know, you always want to make sure that one color is not being overpowered, and that goes for any laminate, especially something like black and blue. So yeah, you know, definitely I think if you want to try this at home, I don't think it's a matter of, oh, I have to have this shade of blue or exactly, you know, this blue pearl or anything like that. No, just take whatever black pigment you have, whatever just kind of normal blue you have, add some blue powder to it, get everything nice and thick, you know, test it a little bit, and I think you'll be swirling hematoma before you know it.